The Inferno of Dante, translated by Ichabod Charles Wright, 2nd edition, 1833, as read by Matthew Lauder. Inferno, Canto 1. In the midway of life, Dante finds himself in a savage wilderness within a dark valley. Attempting to make his escape and to ascend a beautiful mountain in sight, he is opposed by 3 wild beasts and driven back. He meets with Virgil, who offers to conduct him by a different road and to show him the punishments of hell and of purgatory.
In the midway of this our life below, I found myself within a gloomy wood. No traces left, the path direct to show. Alas, how painful it is to declare the savage wildness of that forest rude, whose dread remembrance still renews my fear. More bitter, scarcely death itself can be, but to describe the good which there I found, I will relate what else 'twas mine to see. How first I entered is hard to say. In such deep slumber were my senses bound, and from the path of truth I went astray. But soon as I had reached a mountain base, there where the veil that struck me with dismay obtained a limit to its dreadful space. I looked on high and saw its shoulders broad, already clad with that bright planet's ray, which guideth man direct through every road. Then was a while allayed the chilling fear that still within my heart's lake trembling stood. The night I passed in anguish so severe, and like to one all breathless, who at last escaped ashore from out the perilous flood, turns to the wave and gazing stands aghast. So did my mind, though still intent on flight, turn backward to review that veil of gloom, which never spared the life of mortal weight. Soon as my weary frame had rest obtained, o'er the lone coast my journey I resume, but lowest still the firmer foot remained. To climb the ascent I scarcely had essayed, when lo, an agile panther barred my way, exceeding swift in spotted coat arrayed. Confronting me, she plied her nimble feet, and in my progress caused me such delay, that off I turned with purpose to retreat. It was the hour when morning dawns on high, and now the sun was rising in the east, with those fair stars that bore him company, when love divine first launched them in the skies. Thus all around with hope inspired my breast, the panther's coat that shone with lively dyes, the season sweet, and early morning bright. Not that without alarm I saw appear a lion's form that burst upon my sight. With ravening hunger and uplifted head he came against me in his fierce career. Methought the very air partook of dread. A she-wolf, too, who laden seemed to be, meagre and gaunt, with wants of every kind, and many a one had brought to misery. The terror that her countenance inspired so weighed my spirits down, that I resigned all hope to reach that mountain so desired. And e'en as one intent to swell his stores, when comes the hour that sweeps them all away, gives up his thoughts to grief and still deplores, such I became, when that insatiate brute, approaching slowly, filled me with dismay, and drove me back to where the sun is mute. While sadly I retraced my former course, down in the vale before me I espied one, who by long disuse of speech was hoarse. Him in that desert vast when I surveyed, "Have pity whatsoever thou be," I cried, "or living man, or melancholy shade." "Not man," he answered, "though I was once a man. My parents were of Lombardy, and they in Mantua both their mortal journey ran. Ere mighty Julius reigned, I had my birth, and lived at Rome beneath Augustus' sway. When false and lying gods prevailed on earth, a bard I was, and sang that just one's fame, Acus' son, who left the Trojan shore, when fell proud Ilion wrapped in hostile flame. But why returnest thou to such annoy? Why dost thou climb yon pleasant mount no more, the origin and cause of every joy?" With downcast looks I answered, bending low, "Art thou that Virgil, then, that fountain clear, whence streams of eloquence so richly flow? O thou of bards, the honor and the light, let my long study of thy volume dear, and mighty love gain favor in thy sight. My master thou, my author most admired, to thee alone that beauteous style I owe, which for my name such honor hath acquired. Behold the beast which caused me to retreat, protection from her wrath, great sage, bestow.
Through very fear my veins and pulses beat. Then answered he, when he beheld my grief, another path by thee must be pursued, if thou this savage wilderness wouldst leave. For know, the beast which fills thee with dismay permits none else to journey o'er her road, but hinders sore till she destroys her prey. So vile her nature, so disposed to ill, her clamorous wants she ne'er can satisfy, and food but serves to whet her hunger still. She links herself to many an animal, until the greyhound come to make her die, a painful death, yet more will she enthrall. Nor lands nor gold shall move his lofty soul, by wisdom, virtue, love shall he be fed. From Feltros into Feltro shall he rule. His might Italia's lowly plains shall save, for which Aurelius and Nissus bled. Turnus the king, Camilla, virgin brave. Back to the limits of her native hell, whence envy drew her first, with potent hand, from place to place shall he the beast repel. Wherefore, reflecting on thy future good, I will conduct thee from this dismal land, and through eternal regions guide thy road. There shalt thou hear the cries of hopeless woe, there see the mournful spirits of old time, imploring death to strike the second blow. Others in the fire, contented to remain, for hope is theirs, in heaven's untroubled clime, some future day an honored seat to gain. But wouldst thou mount to where the blessed dwell, a soul more worthy shall conduct thy flight. Her care shall guide thee when I bid farewell, and that all-powerful king who rules above grants not that I, a rebel in his sight, lead to his city those he may approve. Lord of the universe, his seat is there his divine abode and lofty throne. O happy he who doth his favor share. Poet, I do conjure thee, I replied, by that dread God whom thou hast never known, so may I shun this ill and worse beside. Lead me, O lead me whither thou hast said, the gateway of St. Peter may be viewed, and those sad souls thou speakest of be surveyed. He then moved on, and I his steps pursued.